Before we begin, I have something I would like to say. This episode is a little bit different. The first 30 minutes or so is an interview with the Honorable Clerk Goad. After that, he gives us a tour of the facility and explains his roles as the clerk of Carroll County. Please bear with us as there may be some audio defects in the tour portion of the episode. Traveling with audio equipment is very challenging, but we tried the best that we could. In the future, we would like to improve on our mistakes and continue making the best episodes that we know how. Thank you for listening and supporting the Age podcast.
So, as the listener may know, today we're interviewing the Clerk of Carroll County, Mr. Gerald Goad.
All right. First of all, thank you all for being here. Thank you for your interest in interviewing me. I feel like it's a true honor, and thank you all for being great students. So.
Absolutely, the honor's ours. With most interviews, we like to start from the beginning.
Okay.
So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Pike Gap area of Carroll County. My mom was a secretary at Oakland School. Okay. She was there for 32 years. My dad, he worked for the Virginia Department of Transportation for 30 years in many different areas in the county, but he mostly worked out of the Hillsville shop. And so basically I grew up on Elkhorn Road, not too far from the Oakland Elementary School, and that's where I grew up. My dad's family is from the Silverleaf Road area around Duxbur, and my mom grew up around Woodlawn and everything. So basically, it's we would used to go to Duxbur about every Sunday to see my grandma when she used to live up there, but then she moved closer to Woodlawn as she became older. So I feel like I got two of the best worlds. I feel like in Carroll County, of course, all the area in Carroll County is really beautiful, and it has its special places. Every community, is different. It has its very strong points. I feel like and I feel like it has a lot of advantages. I feel like it's got its floor perks, I guess, so to speak. But it's all the communities and all the locations in the county is what makes Carroll County great. So
absolutely. Mm-hmm. So your mother worked at Oakland. Is that where you went to elementary school?
It is. That's where I went to elementary school, and then I went to Woodlawn for 6th and 7th grade. Okay. Went to Woodlawn School, and then I went to Carroll County Intermediate School, and then I went to Carroll County High School for 10th, 11th, and 12th. So 9th grade wasn't at the high school at that time. In school, I was really involved in my elementary school years. In middle school, I was involved in Boy Scouts. I was in Troop 812, and so unfortunately, we wasn't able to have a troop anymore due to numbers. I ended up being the only Boy Scout at that time, so it kind of phased out, and so I just didn't pursue continuing Boy Scouts at the time. But the big thing that I'm very proud of in my middle and high school years was my music career. I was in the band program from 6th grade all the way to 12th. In school, I was very quiet. I was very introvertish. I really didn't say much to people. I was very shy. But I feel like pursuing music and the music program really got me out of my shell, really showed me my full potential in my life. Really gave me a lot of confidence, whereas I didn't have confidence before, playing Little League Baseball in 5th and 6th grade. And so just really proud of and very blessed with the music career that I had in my school. I was on the drum line and marching band, and then I became drum major my senior year. Okay. Won a lot of awards through that. And I didn't do just music. I also did Future Farmers America FFA. Mm-hmm. I actually have received my state FFA degree to go to Virginia Tech for that. That was really cool. And it was a great experience. But I have a lot of great memories of bands and accomplishing a lot through the music program. Yes, go ahead.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you were interested in government and politics. Mm-hmm. Was that something you were always interested in, even as a youngster?
I was. I remember my 12th grade government class. I'm not one to patronize myself, and I don't really like to, but I was proud that I was the only person in that class that could name all of the board of supervisors, school board members, constitutional officers. Nobody else in my class didn't name any of those. And so, I've actually been interested in local government probably since high school. And the reason for that is because the local government makes more of an impact on everyone's daily life than any other level of government, state and federal. And it seems like majority of people want to get involved in the federal elections and the presidential. I'm not saying it's not important, it definitely is, but we need to have that energy for the federal government just as much as we need for our local government. There's some statistics out there that I think that Carroll County has maybe 19,000 registered voters out of 30,000 citizens in our county, and only half of that number really, on average, votes in local elections. So it's kind of scary to think about that. But yeah, that's where I got my interest there, and even through Wytheville Community College, when I went to school there, I still stayed interested in county government. At Wytheville, I graduated with my associates in arts and sciences. I was in a transfer program, and I received the Student of the Year honors there. I felt very honored of that. I was a Student of the Year when I graduated. And then I transferred to Virginia Tech, and I was a communications major. Okay. At that time, I thought about different things. I thought about, of course, the government side. That was always there. I actually thought about ministry at that time in my life. I even thought about maybe change my major to music and becoming a band director. But something always told me that, you need to, there's a place for you in local government. And that's what I sort of held on to. And so I finished my communications degree. And while I was at Virginia Tech, I had an opportunity to intern with the County Administrator's Office and do a lot of public relations work for the county, such as writing press releases, doing a lot of press work for new things happening in the county, okay. Highlighting a lot of our small businesses. And so it was, I did that my 2007 and 2008. And so that's where I really, really got involved and really got to, really develop an extreme passion for wanting to make a difference in Carroll County, was that internship. And so, whenever I graduated from college, I had an opportunity to work part-time at Wytheville Community College, so I went back. So I worked in the office there, and then I ended up having about a 7-year career in higher education. And during that time, I ran for the Board of Supervisors in 2011. That was my first election. I lost by 123 votes, but there was a lot of encouragement even at that time that we want you to run for clerk, and I never really saw as to why they saw me as clerk of court material, but obviously there was a lot of people that had a feeling, or they trusted me and looked up to me to be the next clerk of court, yeah. even in 2011. So I was very honored, and so when the election came up in 2015, I registered to run for clerk of court, and campaigned really hard. I ran a very positive campaign on being bipartisan, enhancing our technology, and customer service. And then actually specified a lot of things that I was going to do, such as establish the judiciary e-filing system, establishing the Officer of the Court remote access, and of course I've accomplished those things. And so I've accomplished all the things that I promised the citizens I would do in that campaign. And so here I am.
So just to be clear, after Cook County, after you graduated from the Cook High School,
yeah,
you went to Wytheville.
I did.
And you enrolled in a 2-year transfer program.
I did, yes, sir.
And then you went to Tech.
Yes, I received my associate's degree in education and my bachelor's degree in communications, yes, sir. And then I also while I was working at Wytheville Community College, I enrolled in a master's program in business industry training through ODU, and I did a significant amount of graduate coursework there. Yeah, so.
Did you complete?
I did not complete, no, sir. Mm-hmm.
Was there an educator in your student career that really affected you personally?
There was a student in my education career.
Like an educator, a teacher through your
a teacher,
career.
a teacher. Yeah, there's my music teacher, Mr. Bob Carell, was very instrumental in the way I am today. I feel like he truly made a big difference in my life. And then as far as the government side of things, and helping with the interest of public service, is actually my government teacher, Mr. Gene Hawks. And I really loved his class. I really enjoyed learning about government, and I contribute a lot of things of the knowledge that I have now to his class. And so those are at least two that I have. My kindergarten, first grade teacher, Ms. Cox, she was very instrumental in me growing up, I feel like. But really, all the teachers were great that I had. But the answer to your question, I have to feel like is Mr. Carell and Gene Hawks is probably the two that was the most outstanding in my career.
So you left Carroll County.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to stay in the local area?
I did. I had a lot of opportunities to go, away from here. Virginia Tech had enormous amount of job fairs with big companies. Even the Secret Service recruited at Virginia Tech, and I had a lot of opportunities to go away. But there was something calling me back to Carroll County and wanting to make a difference here in my home county. I feel like that, it was something where I just felt a calling. I felt like it was. I needed to come back home and keep Carroll County running, and that's how I felt.
Looking around your office, I see Tech memorabilia. Mm-hmm. Did you play in the marching band?
I did. I was in the Marching Virginians. I was there for 3 seasons. I played cymbals with the Marching Virginians. I received. And this was actually on a vote, so it was kind of interesting, politics election. But I actually, out of 350 marching band members, I was voted Rookie of the Year in 2006. And then I was voted the most outstanding, or the most spirited member, or whatever it was called, in the Marching Virginians in both 2007 and 2008. And those are my trophies right there. Yeah. So.
Do you continue playing instruments?
I do. I have a digital drum set in my house. I don't play with it as much as I want to. And then I also I fill in at my church at Recreate in Hillsville. Mm-hmm. I fill in there to play the drum set. Mm-hmm. And Hillsville United Methodist Church has actually asked me to be on their schedule to help fill in if they ever need a drummer. So yeah, I try to keep up with that.
Is that what you played throughout high school too?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was. Yep.
So after you graduated from Tech, you went to Wytheville to work in student services.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Did you have any other jobs besides working at Wytheville and then eventually becoming clerk?
I did not. I mean, I did a variety of things at Wytheville Community College. I actually started out on the business side, in the foundation office, and then there was a full-time position open in student services, so I worked for a program called Talent Search. Okay, yeah. And so I went to there were at least 12 middle and high schools in the college of service region that I would go to once a month, and it was basically a college prep program where we taught students about life skills and doing college prep. We did a lot of college tours and trips, and so it was a very rewarding experience, but I missed the aspect of working with college students, and so there was another position open, and I applied, and I got it, and that was an advising position in student services, advising counseling. Yeah.
I'm familiar with the Talent Search program.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of students at the high school.
Yeah.
They still do it pretty heavily at
Campbell. Oh, they do?
Yeah,
Okay.
they do.
Oh, all right, awesome.
They go on a lot of trips to, I think, a recent one was a college in West Virginia.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a good program.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. You're a scuba diver too.
I am. I just received my open water scuba certification this year. Reasons for that. Number one, I never really saw myself being a scuba diver. I've always admired people that did it, but my stepson is a big scuba diver. He actually is in 9th grade, Devin Spangler, and he wanted me to go scuba diving with him. So I did the training, did the classes, and I fell in love with it. I've hunted and fished, and for some reason I don't have much luck with it, and I don't know if it's my lack of patience or what it is, but I have really fell in love with scuba diving. Is it something that's popular around here? No. I mean, it involves some traveling and things, but I find a sense of peace underwater. It's just a remarkable world underneath the water, and the things that you can see and find, and then also I think it's exciting to keep up with the technical aspects of scuba diving in terms of keeping up with your time that you're in the water, your making sure you don't get decompression sickness. Those types of things I think is really exciting to keep up with the certain requirements of actually doing the scuba diving.
What's the coolest place you think you've went diving at?
The coolest place that I've been diving at is called Devil's Den. It's a prehistoric spring outside of Lakeland, Florida. Okay. And basically, it's you drive for miles and miles all you see is pasture land and cows and horses and stuff, and then all of a sudden you come up to this prehistoric spring, and basically it's a massive water hole of just clear fresh water that it's not muggy or anything, and you go down in it, and it's like a caverns, and you kind of go all around there, and so I think so far it's been the coolest thing, but I eventually my next goal for scuba diving is that there's several shipwrecks off the Carolina coast around Morehead City that I'm wanting to, that's going to be my next adventures, that I really want to see a shipwreck.
Yeah,
so
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's the certification process like, getting your license and the training?
Well, it's basically you had to do at least 4 open water dives, which a couple of those are involved with your training. But basically, you did a 2 half-day in-class academics, and then there were 2 half-days where you did water training. And one of the specific things that you had to do is that you actually had to swim basically 200 meters. So it wasn't timed, but you just had to do 200 meters. And so I did that, and it was fun. And but basically it teaches you, as far as breathing techniques, equipment, how to manage your equipment, how to go into safety situations as far as if something happens, making sure that you are aware of your diving partner and things. And so to answer your question, it was a all day Saturday, all day Sunday course, and then we did the open water dives at the prehistoric spring, and that finished my certification.
So, I know you're involved in local genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'm very interested in. Have you always been interested in local history and family
I
history?
have, and I contribute that to my parents and my grandparents. I always was admired with both of my grandmas. They always knew who was related to who. Mm-hmm. They always knew who, and it was just remarkable to know, to have a memory of so much and that much of rich history. And it's something that it was a common thing. It was a thing to actually be expected to know in my family. I always felt like. And so, to answer your question, I have always been interested in that because it's always been a significant part of our family. We always want to, we talk about who's related to who and who, either passed away or, so it's, I know my Granny Richardson always had family trees and names of family members wrote down, and it was just really remarkable to find out, one one interesting fact about me is I'm related to Frank Beamer. You know, he's a distant cousin of mine, so it's through my Granny Richardson side. So things like that you find really, I feel like, really interesting in people. You know, if you're a family-oriented person and you care a lot about your family and everything, then there's no reason why you're not into genealogy. You know, it's your family history. I think it's really remarkable, and I think we can actually learn from each other if we do more genealogy work, because then that can get us to have a better understanding of other people due to their backgrounds or due to maybe where they come from, or you know, stuff of that nature. So I think that it would help us all out as a society to basically do more of our family research.
And you can actually trace your family back 150 years in Carroll County, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, at least 150 years. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of family history, your great-great-uncle was clerk.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, this is his house. It's actually on Main Street. Yes, Dexter Goad was my great-great-uncle on my dad's side. So, yes, he served as clerk of court during the courthouse tragedy. And so, yeah, he was my great-great-uncle. And
a few years ago, a desk that has a connection.
Yes, yeah, the picture of the desk is up there. That desk is actually at the museum. The person that had that was actually Joe McGrady. He was an attorney that actually passed away not too long ago. But he had that desk, and he donated it to the Carroll County Historical Society. So, yeah, there's a great story in the Carroll County Chronicles, which is the newsletter that the Historical Society puts out about the desk.
I'll link it to the podcast if I can find it.
Yeah.
You can see your Master Circuit Court Clerk certification.
Yes, sir. Cool. Yeah, and then that's where I completed the 6 courses. I became a certified court manager with the National Center for State Courts. So that's what that certificate is.
So our audience is mostly younger students.
Okay, yeah.
Younger people.
That's fine.
What is your advice for younger people just starting to get out into the world and looking for new opportunities?
Well, don't get in trouble. Don't constantly stay in court. But no, basically, make sure to don't have blinders on. I don't know if that makes any sense, but just I see so many people that don't get out of their comfort zone and don't get out of their box, so to speak. Make sure they do research, keep up with what's going on in the world. I see so many people that have no idea what's going on in the world, what's going on in their community, what's going on in their state, and whatever, and just stay informed and never limit yourself. I know everybody has always said sky's the limit and this, that, and the other, but I see so many people that just limit themselves for no reason. And so that's the biggest thing, is that never limit yourself, never say that you can't do something, never, let somebody else tell you that you can't do something. There was, even in this position, there's people that didn't vote for me. There's people that said that I couldn't do this job. There's people, for whatever reason, didn't want me as clerk of court, but I became clerk of court in an election, and there's a lot of people now that have said, "Wow, you've done a really good job. We really have been admired with your work." So I think that whether in your elected position or whatever you do in your life, is that you're always going to have people that are going to try to tell you that you can't do something or you can't do something right, but it's your life, and you've got to do what makes you happy and what is important to you, and that's all that matters. And it's whether it's not coming back to Carroll County or going in the military or working at a trade school or not going to college at all and going right into work. It doesn't matter. You got to do what's best for you and what makes you happy. And I just see a lot of peer pressure. I see a lot of people, going with the crowds and stuff like that. And that's, I guess, if that makes any sense, that would be my advice to all the students at Carroll County High School.
And what is your advice for running for public office?
Okay, running for public office is number one is you need to be yourself. There's no sense into trying to be somebody that you're not. You all, especially in a local election, you've got to be yourself. Be honest. There's no reason why you should not be honest, especially in public election. You want to establish that public trust with people. If people can't trust you to be in office, then you're completely wasting your time, and you're also wasting their time. You've got to make sure that you develop a platform. What are you going to do for the citizens? You can't base you shouldn't base running for office on popularity, or I've been in a certain position for so many years or something there. You got to tell citizens what exactly are you going to do. And that's one thing that I'm very fortunate of, is that I've got a record. I've got a record of everything that I have accomplished. And I've got a proven record. Am I a perfect person? Absolutely not. I'm a very humble person. I'm a very, I wear my heart on my shoulders. Sometimes that can be a disadvantage. But I feel like in Carroll County, people want honesty, they want transparency, and they want to feel comfortable talking to you. And that's the big thing, is that, and that's another thing. I've always had an open door policy. One of the first things that I did in this office is open the blinds up so they can actually see me there, and if they want to speak to me, they can actually come talk to me, knock on my door. Door's always open. And so I want to make sure that's important, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the citizens that elected me. And I think that, and I think that, being able to be a leader and accept a lot of issues. Has it been easy these last 8 years? Absolutely, totally not. To be honest with you, with the first 4 years of having to rebuild and reorganize the office, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life happened just a few years ago, is where we lost an employee due to COVID. She passed away, and I had to preside over her funeral, and that was very tough. But I did it because I felt it was my due diligence as clerk, and the family asked me to. Also, whenever she was out, I had to keep things going the best I could. I had to, if somebody was ever sick or out, or someone resigned or whatever, I had to make sure that this office kept going. But I have to truly say that I can sleep at night, and I've done my very best these last 8 years. And I, we've had some issues as far as the death of an employee, as far as, some backlog here and there due to, people being out and this, that, and the other, but we overcame them. And I think that's too, is that you've got to, you got to make sure that if you're wanting to run for office, that it's not going to be easy, and you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. And that's been the biggest thing too, that I've had to, because I've always been a person that wants to try to help everyone. I want them to like me. I want them to accept me and stuff like that. And it's just not possible, And so, you do what the best that you can. But that's my advice, is that you got to be yourself. And just don't try to fabricate. Don't try to, just honestly be yourself and be professional. And if you want to run for local office, treat it like as a job interview. I mean, you're basically interviewing for a job to serve the citizens. And so you're not going to be out here, if you're interviewing for a position, you're not going to be bashing and playing dirty political games and stuff like that, if you're interviewing for a regular job. So you shouldn't do it as running for office either. So, and I think a lot of people get caught up in that, in terms of when you have an opponent, rather, and especially in a local election, it's not good, because it's personal. It affects a lot of families, and it's just very counterproductive. And so, run a positive, clean campaign. Mm-hmm.
What are your goals for your next 8 years? Your next term?
The goals for the next 8 years is, of course, the archives room. We want to digitize every one of those boxes. So we're very excited about that. At least now we can know what's down there. I actually just verbally committed yesterday. We're actually going to be offering where people can apply for concealed income permits online. So we actually starting that before my term expires. So we're going to start that this year, but enhancing that process to where people will eventually now never have to come to the clerk's office to apply for their concealed income permit nor their renewal. They can do it completely online. So I'm really excited about that. I want to do more. I want to do more probate will services. I want to enhance that. You know, these last 8 years, I found myself being more caught up in the criminal division due to the volume. You know, and I'm a courtroom clerk, so I sit in the courtroom a lot. So, you know, with time and everything, I haven't been able to devote to wills and probate as I wanted to in this term. So I want to do more workshops, more seminars on, you know, meet and greets and stuff like that on wills and estates, because it can be very complicated. But you know, it would be so much easier if people would just stop and think to plan everything out before something happens. And of course, we know none of us do. But you know, increase the awareness of that, so that you know the assets and you know, we're not none of us are guaranteed tomorrow or the next day, and so that you know just making sure that you know people's assets, you know, people work really hard for what they have, and you know you want to make sure that it's well taken care of, or it gets to a certain family member or something like that. And we see a lot of situations where you know a lot of family members split over things like this, and so we want to just increase awareness, increase the you know the processes on what to go in terms of you know when someone passes away, in terms of the wills and the probate process. We've done a lot. We've done several workshops. We've spoken at Rotary. We did a meeting at the VFW. We've done a meeting at church at one of our churches in the county. And so basically we want to do that and actually enhance it to where we partner with local funeral homes and offer you know workshops and seminars for folks that want to attend, that want to know more about this. It's a very sensitive subject. Nobody really wants to talk about it, but it's very important.
And you said before that you were an introverted person.
Mm-hmm.
What's your advice for getting out there and networking and public speaking?
Advice? Mm-hmm. Basically, for public speaking, I would just try to just volunteer. I feel like that just get out there and volunteer, because if you volunteer, then you're going to get more of an understanding of your public, and then that way then it will kind of help you as far as your public speaking, because if you're going to get up there and talk and nobody's really going to understand you or believe in you, then what's the point in going and doing what you're doing? So that's kind of a unique advice. I would attend your local meetings. If you're having to do any type of public speaking, I would definitely practice in front of a mirror. And again, just being yourself. Don't be so scripted. That's one thing that I have learned over time is when you tend to focus on such a script, then you're not really as effective as you can be.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
After wrapping up, we have one final question.
Okay.
It's a bit of a cheesy question.
It's a
No,
doozy.
you're fine.
We ask it every interview, though.
Yeah. What's the meaning of life?
What is the meaning of life?
To you.
Yeah, to you.
Okay. The answer of that is basically I relate it to the motto at Virginia Tech is Ut Prosum, which means that I may serve. And I feel like my meaning of life here is to serve others. And whether it's clerk of court, whether it's in higher education, whether it's something that I'm meant to do after this election, I don't know, is to help others. I have a complete and total satisfaction of helping other people, and it's just really rewarding to me to be able to do something that helps other people do whatever they need to do. that's my meaning of life is helping others.
Well, Mr. Goad, we'd like to thank you for coming on today. It's been an
Absolutely.
honor and a privilege.
Yes.
All
I
right.
hope I haven't kept you too long. So
We have not.
okay.
We have not. Well, thank you for talking.
Yeah,
to us
absolutely.
this
Yes. Yes. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the interview. The rest of the episode is a tour given by the Honorable Clerk Gerald Goad. We must apologize because at times the audio can be a little bit spotty or hard to hear. Recording on the go is very difficult, and we hope that you'll forgive us for any mistakes we may have committed.
We have it's the career development program through the Virginia Court Clerks Association, and basically, in order to receive master clerk status, is you have to complete at least 6 courses through the National Center of State Courts. You also have to complete a number of course credits, and then you also have to have at least you have to have 2 audits that has no repeating audits, repeated findings rather. You also have to have your deputy clerks enrolled, and they have to take a number of course credits for like professional development every year, and so that's how you become qualified. You also have to develop a customer service policy. You also have to develop your own career development plan, and so those types of factors and everything established the criteria to become a master clerk. You have to actually keep that certification up every year. Of course, no repeated audit findings. You have to basically make sure that your deputy clerks are continuing their continuing education and professional development, and so basically that's it's something I actually have to keep up every year. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a win-win for the office. I feel like with that, coming from a higher education background, that I truly believe in workforce training, workforce development. I think that you can't be successful unless you have adequate training. And it doesn't matter if it's a court office or if it's in public sector, private sector, or whatever. You have to have a well-educated, trained workforce. And I feel like pushing the career development, not only for myself but also for the deputy clerks, is very essential in terms of enhanced customer services. I'm proud to say that we also have master deputy clerks. They have to complete at least 60 course credits before their initialization, and then they have to keep up 15 or 20 credits every year. So we actually have all of our deputy clerks, except 2 of them, are actually certified deputy clerks. They're master deputy clerks. All right. So, but yeah, that kind of gives you a little bit of ballpark. You can go to the Compensation Board website, and you can look at the criteria for certified clerks in the corporate development program. Contingent upon funding of the General Assembly, you can actually receive a 9.3% raise. I'm proud to say that I've received that, as well as all of my deputy clerks that are master level. So we're very, very blessed, very excited that's a big incentive for our deputy clerks to participate in this program. It's a win-win. It's not only the educational side, but they do get compensated for it. What you have here is that you have folks that comes in, and they can actually just like applying online for an application. Before, we had to do pencil and paper, and so they had to actually fill it out and then turn it back into the office, and then our staff had to actually retype everything they filled out. It's very time consuming, very counterproductive, and so what we have here is actual a marriage license kiosk, to where they can actually go in here and fill out the information themselves, and then once they do everything on this computer, then the license will actually automatically print off on their side, and they look it over, review it, and then they're done. So it really speeds up the marriage license process, and so we've really been very excited about this because it reduces a lot of labor time and those types of things.
How long has that system been in place?
I got it in 2018.
Okay.
So 2018. Yep. So yep. But if you can, it'll load up here. And
how often do people come in to Get a marriage license?
It varies, but for some reason, Fridays are big marriage license and passport days. So, so basically, you know, it's just like party A, the bride and groom will fill out this for a marriage license application.
Okay.
So, speaking of marriage licenses, we actually this year we have all of our marriage licenses from now all the way back to the beginning of the county, which was 1842. They are completely scanned. They're digitized. All of the images from now back to 1948 are available online, and the index information from 48 to 1842 is available online. So eventually we'll get those images up, but technically every marriage license in the county is digitized and scanned, and it's in digital format. So we're very, very proud of that.
Yeah. Where could you find those images?
You can actually, you can find them here. We can email them to you. The ones all the way back to 48 is available online through our secure remote access. In the indexing information, the names and the dates when they got married, all the way back to 1842 is online as well. So we have them in our RMS I'm getting ready to show you. And then we also have the secure remote access, which is basically anyone can sign up for. It's a $35 a month fee. You can cancel anytime. It's a monthly fee. And so it has all of our deeds, our land records, wills, marriage licenses, and actually court orders. All, of course, as I mentioned to you about marriage licenses, they go all the way back to 1842. Our deeds and land records also go back to all the way to 1839, which is before the county was formed in 1842. Carroll County was actually formed from Grayson County. So we actually have some old historical documents that are has Grayson County on them. Okay, so so we're very proud of what we've accomplished the last 8 years in terms of accessibility. You know, we actually basically took what we had and then enhanced it and added more things. We also have all of our highway plats and our regular plats and surveys, basically all the way back to 1842, completely digitized and available online as well. So so we've been very busy, but we've you know, ever since I became clerk, I was all about accessibility. You know, we're a public office. A lot of people's lives are contingent upon our documents in any sort of legal decisions. And I felt like it was my due diligence as clerk to make sure that these documents are readily available and are easy to find. You know, because people's, you know, time is very valuable. All of our time is very valuable. You know, a lot of people, you know, they rely on the services of the clerk's office to make their living, if they're a surveyor or a realtor or even attorney, you know, of course. So I wanted to make sure as clerk that these documents are readily available, the services are done, and that you know, people are able to successfully find what they're looking for. Okay. Maybe this one don't. Let me see. Let me give you that one. That one. Okay, so this kind of gives you some of the details of what this company did as far as preservation. They did a surface cleaning, and so basically this is what they do in terms of the preservation process. And so this one was actually done in October in my first year in office, actually. So this is deed book 2 from 1845 to 1849. And again, all this is digitized, but this is the original book, and so it's fully preserved. And so we're very fortunate, you know, working with the Library of Virginia in order to provide the grant funds to do these types of things. There's a fee with every recordation called Library of Virginia fee, and that fee money goes towards money for preservation projects for clerks across the state.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I read that you were involved in the deacidification and purchase of HVAC storage units to better preserve.
Yes, they're actually downstairs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So was that the basement?
That's the basement. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So we can definitely go down there if you like. So this is just kind of let you look at some things. This is basically where we scan and print off plats.
Okay.
This is our new plat printer. But to answer your question, is that we have This is your DD-214, and basically this is the index portion. Let's see, this is the index.
Okay.
So, but the actual documents, let's see, that's journal index. And, yep, here we go. They basically look like this.
Okay.
So this is the information that they have.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's awesome.
This is not open to the public. We put it back here, but these are confidential records of the mentally insane. That's back here as well. So. But this is our vault. This is where we keep our exhibits from a trial. As you see right here, these before I started, there was no inventory of our exhibits, and so we actually started a full inventory system, to where we have everything coded with the case number, the items, and so we have a full inventory of all of our exhibits now for both criminal and civil cases. These are some of the older documents that we're waiting to get preserved, so we put them all up there that are falling apart and so forth, so we keep them in there. And these, for example, these are all guns from court exhibits, so that's just in case that's what you're looking for. These are actually these are CDs. These are from our court proceedings, recordings, and so forth. And so this is what those are.
Now, how far back did these CDs range?
I'm not sure. I think that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, some cassette tapes here. I don't really know, to be honest with you, how far back they go. I'm sorry, but yeah.
That's cool.
I guess it would have to be somewhere in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, if I had to guess. Yeah.
Nowadays, is everything digital for recording?
Yes, we have a DCR recorder, and we still burn CDs, but we also have what's called a Drobo backup that we have to have everything stored on a basically like a backup system.
Do you know when that transition was made?
I do. It was somewhere around 1819, somewhere around there. Yep, and I can actually show you that if you want. And this is Joyce and Chris and Stacy.
Nice to meet you.
Stacy's gone.
Oh, Stacy's gone. Okay, and this our deputy clerk's here. So.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you all doing?
Good.
And this is Haley. So, but yeah, let me just show you this. Okay, this is what we did is this was a kind of a mess. So I actually had Supreme Court to come in, rewire everything, make it much cleaner, and we actually have a new backup system downstairs that's a backup for all three courts in terms of our data. So all of our data as far as the case updates, we have a circuit case management system. We have case imaging system where we scan all of our files. That's another service that we have, is basically we scan our files, and then people can sign up for what's called the Officer of the Court Remote Access, to where they can actually access the case files electronically without having to come in here. So I wanted to let you know. Do I need to turn this on?
No, it's
Oh, okay. So basically, the Drobo is the backup for the recordings, and so it's basically there. And I think it was around 1819 is when I did that. So that's what that looks like. So that's kind of the backup storage of everything that we do. So it's very, very essential that that doesn't get messed with. So.
the network closet.
Yeah, exactly. So. Oh, let me show you this. This is, of course, our courtroom. Okay. This is our courtroom. This is some other features I wanted to share with you that we've added. Is we actually have a teleconference system right over there, to where people that's incarcerated or people that are out of town or even out of a different country can actually participate live with our court proceedings. This dramatically reduces transports of our inmates, so it enhances the security risks, or it reduces security risk, I should say. And so we also use that. It's got HDMI capabilities to where on each wall they can plug up their laptop to show exhibits. We no longer use the projector anymore, so it's more clear picture, clear sound. So we're very fortunate. We actually installed this before COVID hit. So we were very proud that we actually were all COVID ready before COVID hit. Because we had that done in 19. We actually offered e-recording for our deeds and land records, so that people wouldn't actually have to come up here and actually have to physically record something. They could do it from the computer. We also, have e-filing that basically attorneys can actually file their civil cases electronically, and so we have that part. And then we have a listening assistance system that's hooked up to our sound for any sort of, we all try to meet ADA compliance with that. Okay. So we have that, that's where that sign is. Okay. Of course, as you see the layout of the court, the clerk sits on the right, judge, and then court reporter on the left. You got your jury box in the front, and then you got your other, plaintiff, defendant, and so forth. So, okay.
All right.
All right.
So does the defendant have to be extradited, or can they appear in court on camera?
Both. We normally arraign them on the camera, and then appoint an attorney and stuff like that, and then the attorney can submit a transport request, and we can have them physically transported, or do by video. But yeah, we're fully hooked up to every courthouse and every jail in Virginia with a directory. And
trials are available to the public too.
They are available to the public. Another thing too, we don't do anything with this, but the TV right here, this was actually with COVID relief funds that we received in 2020 with the county. We actually have a camera in there to actually will show the current trial out here in the lobby. And we actually have a live stream capabilities through social media if we were to make that make that decision. But we have that capability if we ever wanted to do that.
And you have to be 18 years or older to come to trial?
No, you can actually be the age of 12 and up. So yeah, there's a sign right there, no children under the age of 12. So but yeah, this is more public. If you get in a juvenile domestic relations court, it's a little bit more private. It's not really open to the public, but most of your cases in general district court and circuit court are open to the public. Yes. On the wall here, you can see some of our articles of our. That one's really cool. That was during COVID. With this system, we were able to do a three-way court hearing, and one of the witnesses was able to actually participate remotely with a cell phone. So we had the person incarcerated at the jail from Dublin, and then we had the Dublin, then we had the courtroom, and then we had her actually participate as a witness from her cell phone. So it was very cool.
So is this during COVID?
And that's in
this was during COVID, yes. And then this one here, this is, of course, as you're familiar with the courthouse tragedy. We are, it's a long story, but basically this gentleman here was doing some research on the courthouse shooting, and he found the actual documents from the courthouse shooting at the Wytheville County courthouse that had been missing for decades. And so we actually did a formal legal transfer of documents back here, and we had a ceremony on the, looks like the 110th anniversary. Yeah, 110th. Yeah, we did it last year. So that was a very special. We did a memorial ceremony for everyone involved, and rang the bell at the old courthouse. And but yeah, we have all these documents in our vault. They've been scanned and digitized.
So how did that happen? How did those documents end up?
Because what happened was that with the shootout happening at the old courthouse, they had to do a change of venue. So they'd take all the exhibits, they had to take all the court records over with county, and they just put them in the basement. And all these historians and all these people for many, many years, they couldn't find them. And the clerk at the time, Hayden Horney, which has passed away, he looked and looked, and he found there was an X on the outside of this box. And he just turned the X around, and it said Commonwealth versus Floyd Allen. So he found them. So
how long was the court closed after the shooting?
Do what now?
How long was the court closed after the shooting?
I don't know. I'd have to check with the museum on that. They have a really good exhibit on that part.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Are there any missing records as of now?
Missing records? If they are, I don't know.
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah. If we go on down, we do have a inventory of everything we have. That was the only thing that the Library of Virginia came in and actually did an inventory of all of our archives room. So at least we have an inventory, and it's more organized. Whereas before we had nothing, and it was all scattered everywhere. So if anything was missing, I can't tell you. Something I don't think about. Now, there is a cool story, though, is that we did find on eBay, there was a letter that someone wrote in terms of forming Carroll County. So we have that actually in the vault. I should have showed it to you, but we actually have that, and we found it on eBay, and the guy was just selling stamps. He was into stamps and had an old historical stamp on there. So we actually. That we have a very significant piece of our history in our vault right now, and we found on eBay.
Yeah.
So.
In all places.
Yes. This map is really cool. This was done by the GIS. It actually, if you look closely, it has every tract in the county and how it's laid out from the tax office.
Yeah, I found my
You found yours,
my
okay.
house in it.
So Gerald, what made you interested in being clerk?
I had a lot of support from the community. They wanted a new change in the clerk's office. I cared a lot about my county. I've always been into local politics, local government. I ran for the Board of Supervisors actually at 25, and I lost. But I really care a lot about the services. I feel like that this office needed, or this county needed, enhanced services from the clerk's office. And as I saw as when I got here, it definitely needed, and I just felt the calling to serve. I loved working at the college. It was a great job for me, but it felt like I wanted to put myself out there, and I wanted to make a difference in my home county. So, in which I hope I have over 8 years. Yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to do. And another thing too, it's really unfortunate, but there's nothing political about the clerk's office, and it shouldn't be. And so that's one thing that I'm really proud of, is that I took politics out of the office. There shouldn't be anything political, even though it's an elected position. That nothing's going to change that. It shouldn't be Republican, Democrat, because there's nothing in that office that I can change in terms of policy or anything of that nature. And so you get kind of a lot of misconceptions about the office. I feel like, I have no judicial really power to do anything. I mean, even though I am a constitutional office, it's more a responsibility of services, more or less, any sort of judicial authority. Judicial authority goes with the judge, and attorneys and stuff of that nature. But I just saw a tremendous need. When I was an intern with the county administrator's office when I was in college, my desk was over here, and saw a little bit of what was going on, and I just wanted, when the clerk retired, the seat was open.
Yeah.
And so I, with the support of the community and my family, and of course, I'm a person of faith, and so, I prayed about it, and I put my hat in the ring, and I worked hard, and I ran and won. So, of course, I'm up for re-election again, and I'm just really proud that I was able to accomplish everything that I had in mind accomplishment. And I know we're way ahead. We were so far behind with other courts when I first started, and so now we're actually on the same level, if not exceeding a lot of our surrounding courts. And so a lot of things that we do are actually now a model for other courts, which I think is really cool, whereas we were behind on everything.
So you mentioned college. You had an interesting experience at Tech.
I did, yes, yes.
I'm not sure they know.
Yes, I'm a April 16th survivor.
Really?
Yes, yes, I survived the campus shooting. I was a floor below where the first two lost their life. I was friends with Ryan Clark. We were in the marching band together, and he was the RA that first lost his life. But I was in West Annie J Hall, so that's something I have to live with the rest of my life. But you know, really that event, and you know, just being involved in the community and everything. I've always been a person of service, and I just saw a tremendous opportunity here to provide good service for people. And you know, and I work in student services. I just love helping people, is what I do. And you know, every job I ever had is revolved around helping people. And so, what better way to help people than in this office with their deeds, land records, with their you know, people losing a loved one. You know, things that are very significant in their life, even a marriage license. You know, that's a big deal to me.
Yes.
So that was the big thing is service, and I knew that the county could do better, and so that's why I ran.
Yes.
So yeah.
Your term early too, because
I did.
2 weeks early, I think.
I did that because you know, that was the former clerk didn't finish out her term. And so the interim clerk, she didn't run. So per statute, I actually started early because we were so far behind on everything. That's why I wanted to start early, because it was basically a lot of year-end stuff, and I wanted to get started as early as I could. Yep.
Was there a big learning curve?
There was. There was. There was a big learning curve. There's a lot of things to learn. There's stuff we learn every day. The problem with it is that legislature changes every year. Yes. So you're constantly behind in terms of your learning curve. But I have to say that it took me 5 years of my 8-year term to actually feel comfortable with my job. The disadvantage of it was that I spent first 4 years of my term rebuilding the office, getting the new technology up, getting what we needed done, reorganizing case flow, reorganizing, you know, ways of serving the public, and you know, I had to do a restructuring the first 4 years, because we basically built the office from ground up. I mean, we were 3.5 months behind on our civil processing. The recorded deed, you had to go to 3 different stations, which is very unproductive. Now you can record a deed right out the window. I had to change land records vendors, so I had to go through contracts. There was I had to go through contract negotiations. I had to work out significant deficits in our budget and get our budget built back up. So there was a lot of administrative and reorganizing and restructuring things that I had to do my first 4 years, to where it really kept me from actually learning the job, if that makes sense. Yes. Now, I mean, of course, you had COVID hit and stuff, but you know, this year I've felt great. You know, or actually the last 2 years for that matter, felt really great, comfortable now. But it took me, to answer your question, it took me 5 years. Yeah. It's not something that you learn overnight. It's not something that you learn every 6 months, because you have so many divisions that you're responsible for. People are coming with so many questions and so many variety of questions. And then another thing too, you got to watch out too, is that you know, you can't give legal advice. You know, so you got to really watch that fine line there, because you're not a licensed attorney or anything. Yeah. So you can't really, even though you may know what they need to do in their situation, it's kind of like a nurse or a pharmacy technician telling a patient or something medical advice, and they're not a licensed physician or a pharmacist or something. It's the same deal. So you know, I'm the clerk of the circuit court, but you have to be careful, you know, offering legal advice.
Yes.
So, just to overlook this, but this is our newly remodeled archives room, and so I have some pictures of the way it used to look. So I'll show you those upstairs, or I can email them to you. But basically, what we have now is we have a actual climate-controlled area to where documents are fully protected, restored. It's in a very climate-controlled environment. You got the 2 units right there. You also, these are aesthetic-free storage boxes. And so basically, what they used to be stored in these pull-out metal woodruff drawers. They were folded up. So metal rusts, and so you had rust on these documents. Of course, with metal, had subject to mold, especially when it was climate controlled, hot and cold stuff. And so these are actually acidic-free boxes. And so we actually have a lot of your historical documents are stored like this, and of course eventually we'll have each one of these scanned. But if you want to get one of the older one, there's an 1841 up there. That might be better. Yep.
So most of these were stored at the old courthouse, right?
These were stored at the old courthouse.
What was their storage system like?
It was just like the metal Woodruff drawers that I'll show you a picture of. So basically what they did is they took those and moved them down here when they built the new courthouse. And so over time they just kind of used that storage place, because it takes a lot of time and energy to do this type of work and do it right. And so they just basically used it as a storage, and so things got scattered around, lost, misplaced, and so I wanted to turn this around to an actual usable, organized archives room, because, like I said, I feel like it's my responsibility as clerk to make sure the integrity of the documents are protected. So these are these from 1841. As you can see, some of the handwriting, and you can go feel that if you'd like. So I don't know if y'all can read cursive or not.
No, I can't.
Okay.
Can a little bit, but
okay. But as you can see, you can feel the sensitivity of the paper, especially with it being so, that's why we have to take this stuff seriously, because especially if it's not digitized, you're losing a lot of pieces of history there if it gets torn up or messed up.
How do you keep track of what's been digitized and what hasn't been?
We actually have a inventory, as I mentioned to you. We actually have an inventory of everything that's down here, and then on that inventory it's marked whether it's digitized or not.
And does that include indexing status as well?
It does, yes. Most of our backscan of documents down here are basically images without indexing as of right now. But this is basically our phase 1 that we've completed. Now with phase 2, if I'm granted re-election, we're going to actually start scanning and digitizing each of these boxes, and we're just going to take a box at a time. And that's going to be our phase 2 project.
So does your office handle that, or do you have volunteers that come in and do that?
We actually we have office staff that does it, but mostly our volunteers. Actually, we have a couple, 2 or 3 volunteers that come that have done tremendous work in this room, that have done a lot of work here, and so I really give them most of the credit here, because without them this room wouldn't be looking the way it is. Yes, so they have really worked very diligently in getting this room turned around, and we're very thankful to have them. We also had high school interns as well as college interns from WCC actually that came past 8 years. We also worked a partnership with People Inc. It was a work apprenticeship program, so we had some people through the People Inc. program, Workforce Readiness, that actually came in and worked for us working down here. And then we also had people from the Mount Rogers IDC that actually came and actually did a lot of the document cleanings. So we were very fortunate to give them an opportunity to go out outside of their normal work area and participate. So I was very thrilled to have them here. I thought they really were as excited to work here. So it's really been very remarkable to see so many people to come in and just really care a lot about these documents and fulfilling my vision. I mean, they didn't have to do that. It's been on their time, and so I've been very blessed that they have been on the same team and had the same vision that I did in terms of turning this room around. And so so it's truly been a blessing.
If someone wanted to get involved, like volunteering, how would they?
You just let me know. We can certainly get your work. I always ask them to keep track of their hours there, for whatever purposes that they may need. So Joe, just anybody. Yeah. These also have security cameras. There's a camera there, and then there's a camera right there. So you got full scan of the room, and that the that image gets broadcast or transmitted into my office. So that's where the security cameras shows. So, but we don't really let anybody much down here by themselves. It's accompanied by a staff member. So hopefully we'll get to where we are able to not have that, and we could actually watch them and everything. So these tables here are actually from Subway, from the Subway surplus after when they did the remodeling. So I picked them up and thought that was a nice gift for our office.
Absolutely.
And but these are a variety of documents. There's a lot of court records. It just kind of varies. It's not just one thing. It's not just 5 things. It's a whole variety of things, and so but everything is inventoried of what we have, and so there you go. Yeah, at least we have it now to where things are easily accessible.
Yes, sir.
It's a lot of progress.
Yeah.
A lot of progress. It's been a lot of progress. So we're very proud of what we've accomplished. So, we do have to thank the county. They provided us funding for the air units. They put out those, a big number of our boxes. Now the lighter color boxes actually were donated from Fredericksburg Circuit Court. And I actually drove up there myself and picked those up. And so we were able to knock it out and get it done.
So you did a lot of stuff with state leadership in terms of clerks.
Yes. I've been appointed to several committees. I was on a RMS rewrite committee when we rewrote the software for the records management services. That's with the deeds and marriage license that I showed you. I was on that committee. I'm currently on the education committee, which basically it's a number of clerks that we get together and update. We have manuals for every division, so to help with clerks and deputy clerks across the state. So we make sure those manuals are fully updated with the legislative changes to make sure everybody's is properly trained, as well as have adequate resource manuals to go to do their job. So I'm on that committee. I've served on the Library of Virginia Grants Committee, and I'm also on the Guardianship Stakeholder Committee, WINGS. And what that is basically it's combines of clerks, DSS directors, they're with Department of Aging. We all get together and actually basically come up with ways and solutions to fight elder abuse in Virginia. Guardianship is a very serious matter, especially for people that's incapacitated. So we want to make sure that we have adequate checks and balances to make sure we're keeping up with data. I'm actually on the part of the data team on that, to where folks, attorneys that will file guardianship cases, making sure that everything is adequately filed and indexed so that we can capture significant data to help us with our efforts of keeping up with adequate guardianship. Mm-hmm.
And that WINGS appointment, that was a Supreme Court of Virginia
It was,
appointment, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was appointed by the Supreme Court of Virginia. Yeah, I got a official letter from Chief Justice Lemons at the time, so very fortunate for that. Yeah.
How far was that into your term?
That was, I think it was around 2019, 2020. Yeah, so. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty exciting.
I am very blessed. Yes, sometimes I wonder why they chose me, but but no, it's but I am very honored that I can represent not only the county, but I can also help the entire state. And so we're very, so it's been a truly a big blessing.
Absolutely, thank you.
Were these those metal?
Yes, those are the metal drawers.
Okay.
Yes, they're called metal Woodruff drawers. And so your documents are folded up together, tied up with like rubber bands or whatever, and they were just in a drawer like this. And so in order to see the documents, you had to untie the warrants or whatever, and then pray that they put back in the same order, which they probably would not. So it was just a big mess. So.
I bet that would damage the paper too.
Yeah, damage the paper too. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if they've been folded for decades, then you're unrolling, well, then you're tearing them, and so it's just those types of things.
We had these in Dawson in the 90s.
Okay, yeah.
And with traditional court shucks.
Yeah, yeah.
And you would pull one out and never know what you get.
Oh,
It
really?
could be crumpled.
Okay.
The document could be crumpled
Mm-hmm.
or twisted, or you just never knew.
You never knew. Yeah. Like, mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's just not a good way of storage. So.
My name is Jeffrey Watson,
And I'm Ethan Edwards.
and this is the Ridge Podcast.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Instagram, and as well as your favorite podcasting app. Our email is theridgepodcast@gmail.com, and our website is theridgepodcast.com.
If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you.